Hi, it's Jackie Capstick. I am just wanting to share some insights of some of the principles that I have learned that I always keep coming back to ponder. It seems that these basic, very simple concepts are very, very deeply layered. So I just wanted to talk about the universal energies and how when we're in a good mood and everything is going great, that's when we are connected and we view that as good. And then when we're not feeling as good, we view it as bad. So I just wanted to share something that I learned because it helps me in my thinking brain about how to get a picture in my head about what is, or how to unravel all of the different concepts that I've learned and put them in. So it's one thing to know them, and then it's a whole other thing to integrate it into your life. So that's a big thing that I wanted to share. So the universal energies aren't good or bad, and they're not right or wrong. Yes, we live in a polarized universe of polarities. So we get contrast and then we get clarity, meaning we're getting in the shit per se, and then all of a sudden we come out the other side on the polarity of it, and we've got great clarity and we see what happened, and we expand and grow and feel really great. And usually our biggest falls are our biggest breakthroughs. So everything in the energy, everything in the universal energies that are happening to us and the choices we are making, that we put such huge energy on to guilt ourselves or to shame somebody else, or whatever those energies are, those are just self-made. Those are generations old thoughts that we picked up from our parents, and they picked up from their parents, and so on and so on. And so every generation we think, okay, well, I'm going to do this and this, and we believe the half and take that on as our own, whether it is right or wrong, good or bad. We kind of look at it, I think, in our teen years and decide, how messed up our parents are. So, we choose to say, well, I'm not going to do this, 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 and this, but I'm going to do this and this. So again, we make them and their decisions right or wrong. Now, the other side of that is there are things that are beneficial that help us to grow and expand and be connected to the universal energy source, which we are all a part of. And then there are other choices or things in life that are just a lower density. And so everything just is. Nothing is good or bad, right or wrong. There is hot and cold, I think, but we did label that as well. Doing the cold showers at the end of my showers now, and I always have to tell myself, just as it's freezing cold on my head, but it's just because we've labeled it that it's cold and we don't like it. Well, that's mine anyways. I like the sun and the beach, but as I'm kind of unraveling it, I can bear that ice cold water for a little longer each week, probably not every day, but it's coming, and it's just shutting down the story of what we continuously think and tell ourselves, and we just never stop long enough to have a look at all of those beliefs and stories. And so I just challenge you to have a look over this next week about, if you start to feel not well or agitated or irritated, just stop and just breathe and have a look within and be like, what part of this is bothering me? Because unfortunately, if you're being triggered, it is yours. And it's not like it's a bad thing. It just means that it's yours in the fact that there's something that they're being able to poke the bear, and it's a gift, because if that's happening, then it's coming up and out for you to release. And I believe that they say you don't even really have to do much at that point, but just know and allow and breathe it through. But because we have such strong thoughts about, how terrible this is, or how, oh my gosh, and then we continuously build these stories about it and ourselves, it just ends up being something that it just doesn't need to be. We put this thought on and then another thought, and then we're actually creating something just by our thoughts. And these thoughts, they take a little bit to break down and to go through, but it's the only way to change them, because what happens is what you're thinking about inside, you are broadcasting to the field, like to anybody who comes. You cannot even be with people but you get into an elevator, say, while you're in a closed space, and if it feels uncomfortable, it's just okay. Like, just be like, okay, it just is, and don't label it and don't judge it, and just let it pass through. Just ask for it to pass through, so that you don't just keep those emotions that are feeling lower and a little uncomfortable inside. We want those to come up and release, and just acknowledging that, okay, yeah, I feel that, what is that feeling? And if you can get kind of the root feeling of it, not the story of who's doing that to you or who's saying that to you or where it came, just the feeling. Like, is it fear? Is it, we all have this, I'm not enough, good enough. All of us, it's just such a toxic, debilitating thought that we all do all the time. And I didn't even know I did that until I started to pay attention. And I mean, you do, but you really, really hard to stop and see ourselves. But I think we're coming into a time and space where the energies are so intense now that we need to do this work for ourselves and for the people around us. Because if we're not feeling good enough, or we're not loving ourselves, then it just ripples out into everything and everyone around us. And it's like this lower, thick sludge. It doesn't feel good to you, and it certainly doesn't feel good to the other people, because they don't want to know your story. They don't. And, usually we want to, there's a payoff, right? We're stating blah, 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 blah. Usually because we're used to stating that, like, oh, I'm so tired. Well, you're so tired because you're always saying you're so tired, right? You say that, and then all of a sudden you feel tired. Or, it's just that pattern that it's so, your body just clicks into on its own, because you're unconscious. So it's just running these daily patterns all the time. I just catch myself in them all the time. And it's just, it's really great. Every time I do catch myself, I'm like, okay, great, thank you. Because, I look at and they're just they're not even worth the validity of even looking at, really. But it is good to just have a quick look and go, that doesn't feel good. That's not even the truth. I thought that somebody was thinking that of me at some point. So that whole I am what I think you think I am, that we all do, apparently. I mean, seriously, if you think of that, we totally all do that, right? We're basing our judgment of ourselves and wrecking the energy of our lives based on a thought of what we think somebody else is thinking about us. They're probably not even thinking about you, right? Because most people are just inside their head thinking about their feelings and their negative thoughts. Or, they could be on a higher vibration, feeling real clear and good, and you're in that vicinity and you're noticing that you're not in that good feeling space, and then we judge ourselves there because that doesn't feel good either. So just lots of little things that I do, that I didn't know I did. But the more that I daily break it down and just do, that meditation, like just the quieting of the mind, and then asking just the basic simple questions about, like, what is this serving? When I'm having a negative thought that is blah, 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 is this serving me? Does this feel good? Then if it doesn't feel good and it's not serving of me, then it's not worthy of me. And we really actually have to go in and break it down like that, because they're just lingering, these negative old patterns that really don't have the validity behind them, but they are powerful because they're of the egoic mind, and the ego believes that it's protecting us by doing that, by kind of, just being on the defense. I call it my warrior. And thancefully, the warrior has been able to put down her shields, and it's incredible. I mean, we're all just trying to protect ourselves because we perceive somebody's going to hurt us again based on the past, the child's perception. And so many of those fears where somebody says, you want to do that? Oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that because if I do that, then this might happen. Okay, well, this might happen. So you're in fear of something that happened in the past, and then you hold on to that story, tell that story to a few people, really, really develop it in, give it some roots. And then that fear stays there with you. Oh my God, I felt like this. So the next time a situation or anything comes along of the same energy, we go right into that again. And again and again. I don't know if there is any other way, besides, just, doing the meditations and getting enlightened, or, having, that Kundalini experience where, the pineal gland releases and your whole pharmacy within you starts to go and you get the whole release, I guess, like an orgasm the body has. Sounds great, right? It's a thing, apparently. I've been doing the meditations clearly not to the level that I need to, because I haven't quite yet experienced that, but I would look forward to it in the near future. It's all about whatever we're ready to allow in. And clearly that kind of, I've got some energy on it as to, okay, I'm not sure about that, right? But yeah, the colors look brighter, everything's brighter. You're just in a lifted vibration. So your frequency, or your radio station that you are broadcasting and that you've connected to, is playing some great tunes. Like, it's like on the beach with the bucket of Corona, and you're chillaxing, and that's what it is. It's just about getting into that feeling, and then if we can get there and stay there and tell stories and vibrate from these really great solid places, that's what we should be talking about, not the negative, scary, oh my God, I don't want to do that. But here's the other thing. If we do have fear like that, which I have had, I have to tell you that it's liberating to kind of walk through it, because it's not real. It's just something that we've told ourselves, and we believe from a past experience that it was scary. But just drop in and have a look at that, because a lot of times it was just all we could perceive at that point in time, right? So relook at the stories that are scary to you, that we're doing, that we're scaring ourselves with, and see if you can re-perceive them with a broader perspective, so that you can lose the big story and the negative energy that goes with it. Because if you're telling that story, you're going to get more of it. What we're talking about, we're becoming, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about, you manifest. Your body is it is just a projection of what you think about. So if you're thinking you're feeling fat, guess what? You get to be fat. You start feeling fat, like you start feeling heavier. But if you start telling a story of, and just click into, when you felt really thin, you felt really fit and strong, and just click into that field of energy. And if you're there, then the universe thinks that that's where you're at, and it gives you more of that. So when they say, fake it until you make it, that's what they mean. They mean just like get into that field of where you want to be. Like, just feel how it feels, and try to just connect as much of yourself and be grateful. Like, just be in this state of, you know what, that's awesome, thank you. And when you start to come out of it, just be grateful and let it go. And all of a sudden you'll start noticing that the more you do that, the more your life just starts working. All of a sudden things, synchronicities and opportunities, new people, because your mind's not thinking all this. You've got some space now to think about allowing in some newness and some different energy than what you're used to allowing. So make sure that you're aware of it so that you can allow it in, because, ask and it is given, but you have to be able to receive it, apparently, right? So I was asking for a long time, years ago, and then I couldn't figure out why it just wasn't showing up, right? And then I realized after listening to something that you have to kind of open your arms and be like, okay, I'm allowing it in. I'm allowing it in. And that sounds so silly, but I literally actually do that. I open up my arms and be like, okay, I am allowing, because we have to be open to it. We have to be like, okay, because everything's already here. It's just what we are willing to accept, right? And so they say fear just keeps us in the past, so we don't get to enjoy our future, our present. like the present energies, right? You go into fear, and it just shuts the door on everything, because it's like this story or this ball of negative energy that just dropped in to something that was maybe going to be really great. But again, it is from the ego. It's a lower energy. Anything below the heart center is like of the lower energies. And a lot of times, like our power and our, like around the lower belly, our sacral chakra, it is, of the jealousy and insecure and not enough. And, and then the lower, your root chakra, that's our grounding and our foundation, right? And so I have been rebuilding that, because I believe that my foundation was built, wasn't built. It was, anyways, it's shattered, thank goodness. And so having the awareness of how to rebuild is really, really great. It's information I've never had to go in and then actually just spend a few minutes, just thinking about, okay, you know what? This is what I want. This is how I want to feel. This is what's important. These are the people I want around. And then, just checking into your values and your morals, and just really asking, like, is that true for me? Does that resonate? Does that feel good when I say that I believe blah, blah, blah? And you'll know if it's like it feels heavy or yucky or it's not resonating. Time to let it go. But just release it and just ask, you know what, that's it. That one's not working. I'm going to replace that with, and it's usually kind of the polarity of it, right? Like, having a bad day, I'm having a great day. So you kind of just, because that's what you want, right? Your body wants, if it's yelling at you or you get triggered, it's saying, can you please get this, release this, so that you can allow a loving thought in, like a thought that's going to be more nurturing, that isn't going to disrupt your energies and get stuck in there. And if you allow the good energies in, then you just start to flow. You just get into the flow, and then you get more good and more good, and right. Usually we get on a really good path, and then all of a sudden we get like knocked off of it, because and then we're like, oh, what happened there? Because we weren't aware. Remember, when this happens, we live in a polarized universe. So don't beat yourself up about it. Just know, okay, here comes contrast, right? And I think if we're aware of it and we kind of don't give we don't give into the story of whatever's coming after us, just be like, no, this is just for me to start to strengthen my new beliefs in that, I am enough, and I am love, and I am connected, and I am compassion, and that old thought wasn't good, right? So releasing that and filling it up with some new powerful thoughts that are going to bring really good stuff, instead of the lower thoughts of, blah, 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 right? He did this, she did that. Oh my God, I'm doing that again. I don't know. I said I was going to do this. Now all of a sudden I've gone and done this again. I didn't get to the gym. Like, whatever it is that we're beating ourselves up about. It's many things, but just start to catch them so that we can shift them, because I don't know, that you can know all of this stuff, which I have for years and years, but to actually integrate it, to live it, is, it takes a little bit of work. But you know what? It's work that we should have done, or should have been taught, like when we were in school, not anything about, how to manage ourselves in this world, and how we're actually connected to help ourselves. We've not even been taught any of that, right? It's very weird, because it's totally how we work, and it's something that we really, really need to do. We need to go in and clean out the old thoughts, and the 50,000-60,000 a day. I know it does sound like a lot, but most of them are the same thoughts as yesterday. We just like a little record of run and run and run and run. And that's why we just keep ourselves, we get doing good, and then the patterns kick in because we're not even aware that it's running. Like, things are getting too good. Well, it starts to feel like, it starts to feel like you're in a new zone. Then all of a sudden, contrast box to say, you know what, you're not worthy of this. But we need to turn and go, oh yeah, I am. That's just contrast. And if we can start to just play that game and understand that it is a mind game. Like, it's kind of like a mind F word I was going to say, but probably shouldn't. It's really, really, it's like really the most important thing I think that we can do to help ourselves. So everything just is. When you start to feel really charged about something, just say to yourself, you know what, it just is. It's not good or bad, right or wrong, just is. And just start to rewire those thoughts and those like the patterns. Like, you'll just start watching yourself. All of a sudden you'll be like, your body will be into doing something because you got triggered from something, and you'll be thinking, okay, what the heck, I was in a good mood, and all of a sudden I'm like, and then just be like, okay, what triggered me? Like, what was that? Why all of a sudden am I feeling contracted and agitated and backed up? Like, what happened there, right? And sometimes if you can't find the what happened, or you're in a situation with a lot of people, just breathe and know that uncomfortableness, it just needs to move through us, and it needs to move through your heart energy center. Like, so if you can just imagine when you're breathing that you're opening your heart, and the back of your heart's open too, so everything can just like flow, the energy can flow through you and not get stuck. And then just let it go, because whatever you focus on, whatever you think about, is going to be your life. So if you know that, we need to be diligent and not give our lives away. Like, I just feel like this knowledge is how we get to live this life and actually be happy and enjoy it. And these other ways that we have been living are of, all of these thoughts of scarcity, and I don't have enough, and I have to work, and I have to, like, all of these thoughts that we have been taught, right, from our parents and their parents. And what is happening now is they know different from all that. You just need to lift your energy and stay steady and stay up there. Those people, and everything seems to be working for them, is because their energy's up. They're vibrating on a higher level. They're vibrating at the heart center or above. And then all of a sudden magic happens. People phoning you, like, you just feel good. It feels great. That's what we're supposed to be. And then the days that we then crash and go down to the bottom, like, just don't give it too much energy or attention, or sit there and think it all out. Just let it go. Just be like, okay, you know what? I'm having a day, and that's it. Don't explain it. Don't complain about it. Just relax and just be present. And as soon as we are present, that's when you can kind of, like, if you just be quiet, you're just present. Like, it just takes you back to being like a little kid. You can hear like the birds sing, you kind of look around. We're just not there ever. We're just always, and this is the present moment is, that's where everything is. That's where we start to be able to experience new things, right? And there's a lot of amazing new things coming. So I hope that you understood or connected with some of what I was saying, because I believe that we're all part of the collective, meaning that we look like we're all separate because we're in the three-dimensional field, but we actually are all one. So the people that you're looking at that you are envious of, or the people that you're looking at that you're judging, they're you. You wouldn't be able to see it if it wasn't. So just keep that in mind, and send love, send compassion, because you, we, me, that's what we need. We need to learn to love ourselves. So here it is. Everything just is. So give yourself a break. Thanks.